you, Lauren. And okay, no echo and all that jazz. And thanks. And it's Qigong. It's worth trying. It's so good. But I'll tell you.
Yep, your connection has frozen.
And he said, good. The doctor said, I don't have cancer. I'm like, so the doctor thought he might have had cancer due to the low iron that he was experiencing lately. And I'm like, what? You haven't said anything. And he said, well, I'm glad you don't have cancer, Dad. And he said, so does he. About 15 years ago, he actually spent 9 weeks in intensive care and a further 7 in hospital. And so for a lot of that time, it did not look like he was going to make it. It really is a miracle he's alive. And in truth, it's a miracle that we are all alive. 2020 had me thinking, how great is it for us to have this pause and appreciate what's important? And then just that little reminder yesterday hit me so strong. What if Dad had said he did have cancer again? Yeah, I really love and appreciate my parents, and I'm so lucky to still have them here. And sometimes I take that for granted. I can get annoyed with my dad and forget to appreciate. And I wonder why it often takes a little wake-up call for me to appreciate things. I guess it's more evidence that life happens for me. I've been witnessing this for many years now, that everything happens for us, not to us, for us, even when it's shitty. And we'll get little whispers that get louder and louder until we take notice. I've been on a happiness inquiry all my life and realized the more I truly feel appreciative, the genuinely happier I feel. And there's always, always, always something to be grateful for and appreciate. There's also always new possibilities. My dad's a living example. Nothing is guaranteed and anything is possible. And for me, 2020 has shown that in the biggest way. It's always been anything's possible, of course, but just for a moment, think way back a year ago to December 2019. If you were told what was going to happen this year, could you have thought it would have been possible to happen? I certainly would have said, no way. The fact that the world can change in such a major, surprising way actually shows it can continue to change. It shows it's possible that we can actually create completely new systems where everyone is supported and thriving. We can co-create new possibilities, and we can create what I like to call our best possible future. So who here is up for that? Co-creating our best possible future. Yeah, great. So firstly, anything that happened BC before COVID needs a refresh. I know this in my heart of hearts, and I really can tell that you guys feel that too. So rather than just going back to the old known ways of doing things, what if we create new and better ways forward? What if it's our time to shine brighter than ever before? I would say it is for sure. And that's what her story is all about, having all women shine, sharing their own unique story, and hopefully all loving ourselves and each other just that little bit more. And why do I care about this? I guess I've never understood the get up, go to work, come home, repeat cycle. I chose a bit more of an unconventional path throughout my life, starting with hospitality. I love seeing people enjoy themselves. I always wanted life to be fun and easy and laughing and dancing and having a good time. And I don't have the strongest memory, but I have a sense that I was extra sensitive when I was a child. And at some point, like really cut off that, blocking all my feelings. I honed my skills in distracting myself and avoiding my feelings. And as I grew up from the age of 17 to 30, I was an outstanding party animal. From my final years in high school, while studying marketing and commerce at university, and throughout my jobs, which included a promotions manager in a national media company. And then in 1997, I went to London and the parties continued. My bestie was moving from Sydney to London with her young twins and had paid for my ticket to bring them over after she'd set up. So I was excited that I would embrace this opportunity for a holiday. And I was speaking to someone at work who asked, why are you coming back? So I was like, I won't. In less than a month, I quit my job, arranged a visa, and rather than a holiday, I was going indefinitely. I was so excited when I got there. It was in the September. By the December, I was broke, and London is not the place to be broke. At Christmas, around Christmas or leading up to Christmas, I was working 2 jobs. I was on the bar in a nightclub until late at night and with very little sleep, working by day at Hamley's toy store in Oxford Circus. Now, the idea of being a toy demonstrator is quite fun, but picture this, a huge multi-level, very busy toy store in the lead up to Christmas. And the game I had was called Humbug. You hum a tune and other players guess what song it is. Now, this game was not so much fun to demonstrate because I was at the top of an escalator where young kids would be racing ahead of their kids, see the bright board and colourful board and want to know what it's all about, but they don't really know many songs. I did develop a skill at humming one song though. Wow, I'm a little bit out of practice. Hopefully you could tell that was Pink Panther. Anyway, I had so little time between jobs to buy an alarm clock. The only option was to buy one at Hamley's, and that the only one they had was this fancy looking expensive alarm clock that didn't have a snooze button. And all the stress of having an alarm that only went off once with a very short time of sleep, it was challenging, but somehow I got through the next step. I spent the 6 years in London where I worked in a record company and continued in nightclubs on the bar, then became a bouncer. Yes, you heard that right, a bouncer. And then I went on to be a nightclub manager and licensee. Eventually, by the age of 29, 30, I started to realize that I liked partying, but perhaps it's not totally fulfilling or really making me happy. And it would be nice to do other things. At the time, I didn't know happiness doesn't really come from what you do or external things. But I'd started to hear about this thing called life coaching, and it had given me a little intuitive hit, even though I didn't know what it was. The early 2000s, it wasn't as well known as it is now. Anyway, the next step was to transition out of late night nightclub work and get a job as a marketing manager for a prestige restaurant group. There was an outstanding chef, Michelin star, the most incredible food and wine, and a royal A-class London crowd. This was rather fascinating. I found myself one time at a polo match, and as a marketing manager doing my thing, networking, I was talking to a man who I wasn't attracted to at all, but I distinctly remember this very attractive, famous model was really territorial, and I was shocked. Here is this stunning woman. She appears to have everything, and she's clearly so insecure. Now, I've since learnt the world is our mirror, and I was very cruel and beat myself up a lot. So I also was insecure. I actually look back at photos and get surprised to see how I looked because I back then honestly thought I was fat and didn't realize my skin complexion was so good. I've just turned 48 and can see the contrast. And I know that model and me are not the only ones that are hard on ourselves. And rather than being hard on ourselves, we should weren't celebrating all the wonderful things. And I have to say, if this is you and you're still doing that to yourself, it is time to stop that now and leave that in BC. Rock what you've got. We've got our best possible future to create. So after about 4 months in that role, to my surprise and relief, that job came to an end. It really wasn't the right match for me. And 1 week before it ended, I lost my mobile phone, which had all my contacts. Now, if I had that, I probably would have reached out for new opportunities, but I took it as a sign that after 6 years, it's time to return to Sydney to study this thing called life coaching. And in November 2003, on my 31st birthday, I was in the Gold Coast at my very first life coaching course. This was the start of a huge transformational and empowerment journey. For the past 17 years, I've been working with amazing coaching and training opportunities, involved in business, marketing, sales, events, traveling and networking globally. And at the same time, learning to love myself unconditionally, how to be genuinely happy, and to support others to do the same. Initially, I did so many courses, and at some point I figured out I needed to actually apply and implement what I was learning. Particularly the last 8 years, I've been taking that application to the next level of practice and to really embody. Really, it's not just about what we know in our head. It's time to live and embody what we teach and believe and the way of being that we choose. really going deeper and understanding and mastering energy and vibration. Before that was still in my head, reframing, wanting to stay only in the positive, and the big journey was to learn to be present in my heart, to feel all my feelings and be willing to be vulnerable. And the great thing that even though it's taken me years, things are fast tracking. So around the time Brené Brown was doing her research and first TED talk on vulnerability, I was learning this as an experience in Bali. I was asked to stand up in front of the whole room of people and share something at the time felt so scary and personal. I'm not even sure what it was. I think some sort of shame around my financial situation. And after I did it, it was a breakthrough because I didn't die. I also noticed people there were not only loving and supportive, they felt and said they were more bonded and connected to me. And some of the other HerStory speakers have also learnt our feelings are our guide. When we shut them off, we're missing out on so much. And I get how hard it is if you're not practiced at allowing them, but I will say it's worth it. Emotions are simply energy in motion, and they are our friend. We can tune in and feel and witness them, allow them to pass through, and on the other side is peace. We don't need to bathe in them. Tuning into our inner wisdom, our intuition and feelings is a superpower, and it is a key for our best possible future. Every human contains magnificence. If you are human, you are a genius. You have so much infinite potential to tap into. And when you allow and practice and listen to that, this is where the exciting possibilities come from. The joy, the playfulness, the light, the happiness, the goodness. So here we are in 2020. What if it has been the start of a new era? I can feel that it is. And how do I know this? I'm lucky enough to be playing with loads of people who are on this path. During the lockdown of the pandemic, I've teamed up with an amazing woman to create the Wisdom Playground, where our vision is to grow a community of aligned good humans that desire to create our best possible future on the highest and best possible timeline. We've created some new business models that integrate the best expertise of business with the more intangible, energetic, and spiritual truths that we can intentionally bring love, play, and alignment into our teams, our products, our systems, our financial flow. The Wisdom Playground is also a collaboration with other new era wisdom teachers that have experience and knowledge useful for creating new and better ways forward. And this fresh wisdom is delivered in an experiential, fun, collaborative way, where the audience is not just consuming content, but they're empowered and transformed. And it's a fun, safe environment to practice, live, and embody the teachings. The new era wisdom teachers that we want to play with are not gurus on a pedestal. They're open, curious, connected, collaborative learning leaders. They may also identify as coaches, trainers, healers, practitioners, and entrepreneurs. They elevate thinking, action, and knowledge to support people to look beyond the known, move past outdated practices, and provide fresh insights, knowledge, and experiences, facilitating a brighter future. Now is the best time to take what's worked well in the past and redesign the rest, utilizing our inner wisdom to firstly know what's best for ourselves and create a world that has everyone supported and thriving, where we tap into the best of humanity, get creative, connect, play, love ourselves and each other unconditionally. We can create and work in businesses that are aligned and energizing. We can express our full potential. This is a very exciting time. And if this resonates with you, you are invited to come and play with us at thewisdomplayground.com. And please do reach out to me, message me personally to connect and let me know you're part of HerStory. I can look after you with a HerStory VIP code. And either way, I'd love to say, remember, challenge anything that isn't working for you and leave it in BC. Appreciate the little things, the big things, all the things. Listen to your inner wisdom, trust your heart, allow yourself to create something better than what you can even imagine, and most importantly, keep on loving.